And we will discuss this now with our esteemed guest, Major General SVP Singh, retired. He is strategic affairs and defense expert. He is former regional DG, artillery as well. A very good evening to you and Mr. Singh. And first of all, let's begin by asking about now here from here on. As we have seen, we have done very well. S-400, air defense, our fighter jets. But now there is more to be done? Or do you think it's enough? Now, can we progress or maybe keep on investing the same amount we were doing? Or do we need a substantial amount now to go towards all these things? What can be the immediate requirements India's defense will need?
I'm afraid the sound is very low. I've not been able to register. Could it be repeated? And I've been
Mr. Singh,
requesting
if you
to
can
make the
hear me,
sound
Mr.
higher.
Singh, if you can hear me, Mr. Singh,
The voice
about India's
I need a
defense
higher
needs
volume.
now, where do you see us? Mr. Singh, where do you see India's defense needs? What all we have to immediately invest in?
I'm not getting your voice.
Mr. Singh, all right, Mr. Singh, we will come back to him. But in the meantime, well, Mr. Singh, if you can hear me, and we can talk about India's defense preparedness. What investment should go now? How much money should additionally be invested? Which all areas?
If I get you right, you see, our defense
Mr. Singh, if you
budget
can hear
over the
me,
years has increased in real terms, but when we take it in the terms of GDP, then that percentage is not very high. For example, this current year, the defense percentage of GDP is 2.4%. But if we exclude the pensions and all, it comes down to about 1.9%. So that is not really good enough. And the sort of threat perception which is there with us today, I personally feel that we need to take our defense budget somewhere around 3% of the GDP at the cost of other sectors. Now, why I say that is because today we have not only a two war front, but it has become three-war front with Bangladesh, with what it is doing now. And plus, we have to always cater for our internal security. So right now, this 50,000 crore additional budget outlay which is being done is a very welcome step. But how much it would be, because any amount of money for defense is never enough. It's never adequate. We have to keep boosting our defense, particularly in the light of the threat perception which I have mentioned to you. Now, other is that we have our challenges. Now, the challenges are that we have to modernize the technology, particularly on our C4 ISR, then also in our cyber, in our electronic warfare capability, and we have to also go in very strongly for the drone industry. The drone segment requires a lot of boost. So, keeping these in mind, we have to take up the challenges, and challenges is, I will repeat, technology gaps and dependence. Then is we have now increased our exports 21,000 crores, which has come to. But when we compare with other nations, as an arms exporter country, we have got a long way to go. So, but anyway, our Atmanirbhar defense has come of age in this last about 10, 12 years, and which is very encouraging. Now, you see, when I say the technology equipment, it also requires our, the Air Force jets. We need fifth generation aircrafts today. I think there's been a little hint in that. Rafale, which is 4.5 generation, we need to take it forward to fifth generation, and so we must start it right now. And then insufficient defense budget allocation, which I have covered, requires to be attended to for our DRDO as well. Now, this year, it is about 3.94% of the budget. So that is not as good out of the 6.81 crores which has been allocated. Now, then, in this case, we also need to go in for to beef up our thing, to boost our this thing for more of public-private participation. The private industry has to come up. We have to give
Yes,
more
Mr. Singh.
encouragement to the startups. We have to set up, this state-of-art infrastructure setups for certification
Right.
schemes,
But
trials.
Mr. Singh, I would like to interrupt you here, Mr. Singh. Mr. Singh, I would like to ask you about a lot of money goes to pensions. Now, Agnivir scheme was brought in. Now, how do you see that scheme in the light of things, our modernization's needs?
You use the word sanctions.
No, I'm saying Agnivir scheme. Agnivir scheme was brought in and pensions. How do you see both these as problem or challenges?
I think it's a very good question. The Agnivir scheme challenges the nation, challenges the armed forces, and there are two ends of the spectrum in which the views are being shared. But let us see for one thing that we need manpower. We cannot reduce manpower. You see, we can reduce manpower for the types of terrain in warfare which you have. But here the mountains are there, and our mountain sector is very large. So mountains consume manpower, and we cannot shed away manpower. And this is one of the lessons which is very much right on top. Now, Agnivir may be saving us defense budget, but I have a certain view which is little out of the box. If I say, why are we shedding away this Agnivirs, the 75% of them? Why don't we come up with a scheme of common recruitment? And these people who are training with the army, they get the job with the paramilitary forces. So this trained manpower, which has stayed on for 4 years, they are absorbed in our paramilitary forces, and the best lot, 25%, is retained. And mind you, the 75% is just as good, but they could not make it in the merit. So I feel the Agnivir requires a little tweaking, and it should be done to our advantage. Because you see, firstly, the manpower, the budget savings for manpower is no saving at the cost of national security, which cannot be measured in terms of money cost and all. That is my very considered view.
Right. Right. Mr. Singh, we saw missiles being used in a big way, drones being used in a big way. Now, what about the tanks, artillery systems? Now, should we invest more about strategic, these future-oriented, all these drones and planes, or should we still maintain our strength in the conventional warfare? Because we have always beaten Pakistan in conventional warfare.
Now, you talked about the drones. Drones is the definite thing which is required to go in a very big way. And you see, today it is the swarm of drones which are required. It is the killer drones which are required, the kamikaze type. And there we have to give a flip to our drone industry, and which is largely also gone to the private sector. So I personally feel when we compare with Pakistan, Pakistan has an advantage of importing everything. They're getting the drones from China, and in the current state, they are also getting large segment from Turkey, and but they are TB2 and one more this type of drone which has been there. Though the drones have not done well in face of our very strong shield of air defense, but we need offensive drones to take on Pakistan and the enemy. And mind you, when I say this, we should not only have a Pakistan angle, we have China, and we have to build up for that as well. So drones form a very important curriculum or faculty in the modern warfare. It is the drone warfare and the air defense which is carrying the large chunk of force multiplier today. And we have seen it in the Ukraine-Russian war, how Ukrainians have been able to outclass Russians in the field of drones, which they have got from Turkey also, and some they have done indigenization. So drones are a very important component of our modernization.
Okay, great to get to hear this, Mr. Singh. But we talk about the pensions. Well, they take a sizable amount from our defense budget, leaving little with us when it comes to really investing or buying these weapons. So, can there be some unique plan through which we can handle pensions? At least those take consume 50% of our budget, defense budget.
Since the sound is very low, I'm hearing the word sanctions. I may be hearing wrong. Could you kindly repeat? I'm sorry for that. I wanted higher volume.
Okay, I'm talking about the pension system, the pensions which are Mr. Singh, the pensions which are given to armed forces personnel, because they retire also early, so the amount of pensions are very large. How to have this challenge solved?
Yes, it's a very good question which draws the attention of the nation and the government. But we have to see if whether what can we do with that. We have got the manpower. Today's manpower is tomorrow's pensioner. And we have got to look after them. After all, these pensioners, then they have no way to go. So pension should not be taken as a liability. And that's a very important factor. Today's serving soldier, officer, men, they are tomorrow's pensioners to the nation. The nation has got to pay them back. We have got to look after them. Otherwise, how are the armed forces going to really attract the recruitment and the manpower? It's not only unemployment which attracts, it looks at the defense services, people who are joining, they're looking at their future and they know it's a pensionable service. So I think the government has to take care of it. And there are a number of ways. You see, I will suggest during COVID time, we are given a lot of freebies. Those freebies should be withdrawn now. It's high time. And number of places, we are going in for freebies. We should withdraw those freebies and not look at only towards the defense pensioners. It's a very considered view.
Okay. In the light of all that, Mr. Singh, and I would like to ask you one important question when it comes to modernization of armed forces. Well, we have still got some of the old systems and we have the new systems now coming in. How to decide how much to go for new and how much to keep old when it comes to defense and armaments?
It's a good question. You see, today the Indian military carries about 30% of vintage equipment and about 40% is the contemporary equipment which is in service, and the balance 30% is the capital acquisitions and the new equipment which is there. That's been what has been our guiding figure. Now, 30% vintage equipment, I feel we should reduce that to about 20% to begin with and bring up the percentage of current capital acquisition to 40%. So that will give us a little flip in our acquisitions. So we have to balance that out. And somewhere, you see what has happened, there's been a large gap in capability development and capability which was existing. So what is the capability required today? Because of a backlog, we have fallen behind a little. Now, for example, I can give Air Force is short of 10 squadrons. At one time, the artillery also was lagging behind in its required number of artillery units. So all that is coming up. We are making it up. But yes, it's a very important thing. But what is matching some of our systems today, the combat systems is, I touched upon artillery. You see, we come in a big way. We got the ATACs which have come up, which is a world beater, and we are among the top 4 nations who have that. We have got the K9 Vajra, which has come up. We got the Pinaka multi-barrel rocket launchers. So artillery has come up very well in the indigenization part. And today, we are looking at a big chunk of export coming our way, armament export in the artillery. The same way, you see, look at our Navy, INS Vikrant, which has come up. It is 76% indigenized component with it. So, we've done very well in this part of it. Our BrahMos is there. Our Akash is a world beater today. So is BrahMos. So that is the way we have to go about. As as quickly. The pace has to be picked up. The most important thing is that our focus has to be on technology advancement and the defense R&D, which will help us. And while saying this, when you give to R&D, it is the
Yes.
startups. Some of the startups have done very well, and we should take them forward.
Yes. But Mr. Singh, one question on the acquisition process. Keeping money aside is one thing, but spending it is another thing. In 2000, the Sukhois came in 1999, and Rafales 30 and 30 odd Rafales took more than 25 years to come. Our acquisition process is so long. We can spend money, but it takes a lot of time to how to use that money.
I think it's again a question which draws the attention of the armed forces in particular. And I would say that there is major bureaucratic hurdles and delays which have been responsible for this. And to the credit of the current dispensation of government since 2014, these delays have been largely overcome. And yes, yet we have to fulfill the shortages, the deficiencies which are there. So you see, what happens with defense is, okay, for if 2 3 years I have not attended to my modernization program, then I'm lag behind for the next about 7 to 10 years. So that is the ongoing process of defense acquisitions and ongoing defense modernization. And before this, we were hardly armament exporter. We have picked up now, and we are picking up in a very good manner. Today, 65%, if I dare say, is our Atom Nirbhar defense, which is going to carry us along. Yes, some of the big ticket equipment, well, that's the time in being for that, and I'm sure we'll pick up. So, for example, I said fifth generation fighter jets. You see, we are not in a position to do that, so we have to acquire that, and we have to do it in a very pacey manner.
Right, right, Mr. Singh. Mr. Singh, on that note, I would like to thank you for getting us up to date with what is going to happen, giving us this brilliant perspective. Thanks for staying with us this evening.